Caroline was travelling with her friend Sarah, and they'd become very, very close at college. It's not just somebody to share the experiences with, but it's someone to look after you and have your back. She flew out to Australia in the January, the beginning of 2002. The summer was well on the way in Australia, so it was the perfect time to arrive in the country.
We were both very excited at the prospect that we were going to be in Australia at the same time, and so we met up in Byron Bay. The first day I saw her in Australia, she kind of looked like a different person almost. You know, as nature intended, no makeup on, her hair sort of bright blonde, and she just looked radiant.
She was absolutely having the time of her life. She absolutely loved it. Loved the places she was seeing, loved the people, loved the sunshine. She learnt to surf. Everything over there she just loved the life.
We met up again in Surfers Paradise, and then we were intending to meet up in Bundaberg.
By April, Caroline and Sarah were running low on dollars, so took a detour to the town of Bundaberg on the Queensland coast to earn cash picking tomatoes.
Bundaberg's a fantastic place to live. It's a regional town not far from the capital in Brisbane. You've got a lot of people that live in Bundy that have been born and bred here and haven't moved. A lot of people don't know how great it is here. We have wonderful beaches. You can see the Great Barrier Reef. So it's a great place. Backpackers are a huge part of the Bundaberg economy. On average, we would have around 3,000 backpackers any day of the year in town. We call ourselves the salad bowl of Queensland. Fruit and vegetables of all sorts are grown here. So the backpackers come here to pick that fruit and veg and get their pay so they can head off around Australia to enjoy themselves. The crime rate in Bundaberg is fairly low. We would get a murder, maybe 2 a year on average. It's not a normal part of a daily detective's work is to go to murders. We do have our drug problems here like anywhere else does, whether that's cannabis or, you know, sometimes those harder drugs as well. We've had a few different issues over the years with different backpacker crimes, with robberies or assaults.
The crime in Bundaberg was minimal, but for strangers there was still the risk of wandering into the wrong part of town.
Caroline arrived in Bundaberg around 4 months after she arrived in Australia. It was a pit stop on the way up the east coast. You know, I think she'd been to Byron Bay, she'd been to Brisbane, they'd had an amazing time in Sydney, and then they'd arrived in Bundaberg.
Caroline hadn't planned to work. She'd saved up a lot of money, but I think they'd actually gone through more money than they expected. So that is why she headed for Bundaberg, which was a tomato picking place.
On the 10th of April 2002, at around 8:30 in the evening, Caroline Stuttle said goodbye to Sarah and set off to make the short walk from the caravan park she was staying at to a phone box in Bundaberg town centre.
Myself and my partner, we were working an evening shift. We finished at 10 o'clock at night and just headed home. We got the phone call from my boss advising that Caroline had gone missing. Caroline had told Sarah that she was going to go over and ring her boyfriend at the phone box and that she wouldn't be too far away. Sarah then got a call from her to say, could you come and get her? That she was concerned. Sarah got a friend and they jumped in the car and drove looking for her around the streets and couldn't find her. When they couldn't find her, they went and reported her missing.
At around 9:30 p.m. on the 10th of April 2002, Sarah Holliday raised the alarm to say her friend Caroline Stuttle was missing.
The uniform crew then went for a drive in the area and they came across the body of Caroline under the bridge in the pitch black. But it was so dark and so black we couldn't see that far in front of us. I remember saying, well, where is it? You know, we couldn't see even. It was 20 or 30 metres away from where we were. For me, finding a body, it is a shock. It's not something that you normally deal with here. Caroline was laying on the ground with fairly severe injuries.